Okay. Sorry. So I start the video saying sorry. I'm just, fuck. What's wrong with me? I feel like I have to talk as if I have an audience, but I don't have an audience. I'm just here to record. Anyway, I wanted to read some of these interviews out loud so that I could have like I don't know, a video of me reading them out loud. So here we go. Oh wait, not mail. Data or data. All right. I'm going to try to read this again and hope I don't fudge it. All right. Bridges' primary objective is to rebuild America, and in order to rebuild, one of our main tasks is to reconnect cities and other settlements by reestablishing a delivery network. Back before the Death Stranding, the comms and delivery networks were what held society together. The whole thing was automated, AI managed, deliveries carried out by drone. The belief was that taking people out of the equation would revolutionize the entire system. But things didn't quite pan out that way. Instead, we started seeing cases of what would eventually be dubbed drone syndrome. It was too much for some folks to accept, leaving everything to machines and nothing for the common man. And indeed, the oxytocin deficiency and hormonal imbalances we confirmed seemed to back up that assessment. Humanity needed to be a part of the process. So laws were put in place, and when we stepped back into the picture, and we stepped back into the picture again. And then what happened? All people put out of work by machines who got called up again convinced themselves society could not survive without them, and that brought on a whole new disorder, delivery dependence syndrome, they called it. When the Death Stranding tore us apart, the delivery problem spiraled even further. It wasn't helped any by the fact that chiral clouds prevented planes and drones from flying, which meant we had to go back to relying completely on human couriers, whether we liked it or not. Eventually, delivering goods became all some lived for. They were obsessed, addicted, consumed by the desire to deliver. Over time, they turned into mules, the ones we know and love today. Humanity's biggest problem? Logistics. All right. War and famine have been inescapable parts of human life since the rise of our species. And while the fall of America hasn't changed its fundamental truth, huh, it's fair to say that these issues aren't pressing concerns. Can you remember the last time you heard of a prepper dying of starvation, much less someone in a not city? No one's fighting over water or oil or anything else, which isn't to say that people don't occasionally run out of supplies, but it's almost never because of a real shortage. It's usually a problem with logistics. Huh. In fact, it was to address such problems that the president created bridges and developed the chiral network. So yeah, no one's that desperate. Everybody's got enough for themselves, which is what led to the real problem. It's all too easy for people to become isolated from one another and eventually forget that others even exist. People are free to live for themselves, for the moment, without a care for the future. The president understood this better than anyone, and I know just how much it pained her. Oh, so technically these people don't even need the packages. They could just make it themselves or have it. Huh. But I guess it's the idea that that I guess because of isolation, humanity would die off with a whimper. Because yeah, they kind of mention in this game a lot about reproduction and stuff. Like humanity, we're not having enough babies to make up for the population or whatever. Okay, all right. The chiral network experiments between Central and Capital One. Madam President, this will be your new office from today. The relocation of your official residence has also been completed, and the entire medical team has been brought along as well. Rest assured that information regarding this move has been shared on a need-to-know basis only. I understand that, following the loss of New York, you wish to direct the reconstruction efforts from Central Knot City. But in the light of recent separatist activity on the eastern seaboard, we no longer consider it safe. We will see to it that the people continue to believe you are in Central, and Bridges HQ will operate as normal. As per your orders, the network research teams and delivery systems management have all been covertly transferred here to Capital Knot City. We are doing our utmost to expedite testing of the chiral network link between Central and Capital. while not neglecting your immediate medical needs, of course. This will be our base of operations for the next stage in the fight to rebuild America. Chiral Network Part 2, or Chiral Network Experiments Part 2. Madam President, I'm happy to report that the trial run was a success. The connection between Central and Capital was established without incident. No chiral spikes or other irregularities. The Cupid functioned within acceptable parameters as well. There's still a lot of work to do. Chiral holograms, chiral printing, and data recovery have still yet to be proven viable. But the confirmation that data can be sent via the chiral network is a huge step forward for the UCA. Our next step will be what was it? Our next step will be to use cupids to establish connections with all of the other cities. Preparation for the second expedition are already underway. We're still trying to track Sam down, but as soon as he's back with us, he'll be given his new command. Mules and loyal porters. When people hear mules, they think junkies driven crazy by a desire to steal supplies we so desperately need to survive. Luckily for us, not all couriers are predisposed to this condition. Not all mules. In fact, they are, or not all mules, in fact. They were professionals once, and some still are. Some even complete proper deliveries from time to time. Fragile Express has been known to use them along with independent porters. For those for those at risk of losing it, they say the only way to stave off the syndrome is to join a distro organization with strong leadership and support to help keep you on the straight and narrow. Or you could strike out on your own, but that's no easy path. There's a reason guys who run solo have a reputation for being bulletproof. Huh? Okay. Likes secrete oxytocin. Oh. Huh. Interesting. I didn't know this. Before the stranding, before the stranding, the whole world was connected. There were networks, social networks, we called them, like Facebook and YouTube, that people used to communicate all the time. They shared all sorts of stuff through them. A random thought, a pretty picture, a home movie, you name it. And if you liked something that someone else uploaded, you'd let them know by giving them a like. Sounds weird, I know, but that's the truth. Eventually, someone ran tests on the users of these networks and discovered that receiving a like triggered a rush of oxytocin. The theory was that it stemmed from a sense of being acknowledged. Even though you couldn't see the person you were interacting with, it still felt like they were accepting you, praising you, and who wouldn't like that? But at the same process, but that same process is at the heart of the mule phenomenon. It's believed that an overdependence on the oxytocin rush provided by these kinds of interactions is a factor to the porters going rogue. Huh. With this in mind, it wouldn't be wrong to characterize mules as oxytocin addicts. In essence, they're social animals at the mercy of validation. Oh, wow. That makes me feel bad almost now when I beat up mules. They're really just like poor sobs, lonely bastards just trying to feel like they're contributing to something bigger than themselves. But they just kind of got a little on the extreme side because they're just addicted to the neurotransmitter oxytocin. That makes you feel good. Makes you feel good. Anyway, the situation after the first Death Stranding incident. There was a series of huge explosions. Well, not much a series. They were simultaneous, worldwide. Worldwide, wow. The global comms infrastructure was shot to hell, but we salvaged what we could and tried to make sense of what had happened. It didn't seem like much at the time, but it was a hell of a lot better than what we have now. Anyway, the government figured the whole thing was a terrorist attack at first. We've been dealing with a lot of those back then. Oh shit. It's funny how they kind of keep like dipping into like, I guess today, like they try to like tie in reality with this game every now and then. All right. So terrorist attack at first, we've been dealing with a lot of those back then, but it didn't take long to see what this was, or to see that this was something else. The craters left by the blasts were bizarre. There was no rubble, no dust, Wow. No dust even, which led the scientists to rule out meteor strikes. There was a trace neutron radiation, alpha rays, but we knew it wasn't nukes either. Some of the particles we detected we'd never even seen before, chiralium, although we didn't know it at the time. The more we studied them, the more our scientists came to the same conclusion. These were the results of annihilation events. It was right about that time that chiral clouds started to form, and after that, all communication with the outside world went down for good. With the outside world. Man, I wonder if in Death Stranding 2, do we get to go outside of America? That'd be kind of cool. Oh, if they don't do it in Death Stranding 2, definitely Death Stranding 3 has got to be like, we're fucking reuniting the world, baby. And I can only imagine like what Europe and like Africa and like fucking Asia is like, or even Australia. I wonder what what fucking Death Stranding like is in Australia. I can only imagine. Instead of like flying whales, it's like flying kangaroos and fucking dingoes. Yeah, right. Okay. Dead Man. More Dead Man. Or Dead Man, sorry. Die Hard Man, now we're Dead Man. Mr. Del Toro. Alright. Bridges HQ. Bridge Babies. Alright. Look, I'm kind of new here at Bridges, so I don't know if any of this will be useful to you. Still, I'm happy to talk about BBs, if that's what you want. They call me Dead Man, on accounts of my familiarity with the dead. Get it? We've always been on good terms, you see. Used to have regular little chats back when I worked in the morgue. Anyway, it's all it's also the reason I work on BB maintenance and research, to learn more about those who are no longer with us. But I digress. Fact is, BBs were already being issued to our forces in the field before I joined Bridges. What's more, research into the little guys had already been conducted long, long ago, but no one took the plunge and put what they discovered to practical use. Still, what they did mean is that when Bridges wanted to build our own BBs, most of the work has already been done for us. We just needed to follow the instruction manual, so to speak. Which isn't to say that we have any idea how they work. Not how they can detect BTs or how they can connect this world to the other side. We still have much to learn about our little friends. One thing is certain. Their continued study will lead us to greater understanding of the stranding and of life and death itself. That much I can assure you. Well, I think that's about all I have to tell you today. Hopefully, I'll have something new to share next time we chew the fat. See you around, I guess. BB echolocation. All right. Bridges HQ, Dead Man. About a year ago, dolphins use a sensory mechanism known as echolocation to keep track of both their fellow pod members and any potential prey. As the name suggests, they produce sounds which bounce off objects and return as echoes, allowing them to get an idea of their surrounding. Interesting in and of itself, of course. But what I find far more interesting is that the recent research suggesting that BBs use a similar method to detect BTs. As you know, BB pods are designed to mimic the conditions inside a human womb. They are the key to preserving the BB's connection with with this world and the world of the dead. Well, recent research now suggests that BBs are capable of producing something not unlike a dolphin's sound waves. These pulses travel through the amniotic fluid and out the other side, bounce off BTs, and return as echoes, allowing a BB to ascertain the location of threats. Pretty cool, right? Huh. No blue in the inverted rainbow. Oh, interesting. I never really paid attention to that part. Because, yeah, the rainbows are up like the upside down rainbows. We humans are complex multicellular organisms, 60 trillion cells inside each one of us, they say. How many of these cells need to die for us to consider a person dead? Oh shit. That's a deep question. That's interesting. I wonder, because technically, all you need to do is get the electricity out of your brain and you're fucking dead. Like, you're technically, the rest of your body could be fine. I mean, your cells will die because you're dead. But yeah, that's interesting. Are there any cells in particular which determine whether a person is alive or dead? I would say yeah, the electric signals that are shooting around in your brain. Because apparently there is electricity running through our body. It's what basically keeps us working. At least I think that's how it works. It's like our brain has like electricity in it that sends signals, and that goes away when you die. These questions are academic, of course. The exact point of death can't be calculated using cell counts. On the other hand, no one can deny the existence of degenerative diseases that gradually destroy more and more cells, leaving their victim effectively half dead. And what about me? Most of my organs have been harvested from other people. What the fuck? They still work, of course, but could their original owner have been said to be alive? I really don't know. Incidentally, have you ever heard of a fun little experiment they once did with roundworms called C. elegans? These creatures were notable for growing bright blue when exposed to UV light, but only when they die. It seems to be a reaction of the anthran- anthranylic acid within the organism, and it's known as a death fluorescence. Yep, that's right. Blue is very much the color of death, it seems. Huh. Can it therefore really be a coincidence that there's no blue in an inverted rainbow? Timefall strengthens an area's connection to the beach. This is something to do with chiral particles becoming excited, I believe. In spaces connected to the beach, electromagnetic waves with a blue wavelength can travel easily through the seam, leaking out onto the beach. Some people think that's where the blue from the inverted rainbow goes. Who knows? The fact that the blue has a very strong connection to death, though, that much seems inarguable. Huh. No blue in the rainbow. Blue's the color of death. So, huh. Interesting. Hartman. Timefall. Timefall was first recorded when the Death Stranding occurred, and despite all the years that have passed since then, we are no closer to understanding how or why it accelerates the passage of time for the objects and organisms it touches, or why it immediately turns into ordinary water having done so. Oh, interesting. It immediately turns back into regular drinking water once it touches something. Interesting. Some researchers have gone as far to posit this process as stealing time. As for why timefall is observed only in certain places, all that we know for certain is that it is somehow affected by local chiral concentrations. This is merely a hunch, but something in me suspects that the Death Stranding may have warped our perception of the passage of time. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, you understand. We humans can conceive our own deaths and even the possibility of a place beyond death, yes? We have the capacity to conceptualize the future, an evolutionary advantage which aided our development as a species. Well, what if Timefall has given us a new, supercharged version of this essential ability? One that will take us to the next stage of our evolution. Perhaps we wouldn't need to hole ourselves in not cities. Perhaps in time, the Death Stranding will come to be seen as a phenomenon that saved our species. Exciting thoughts, I'm sure you'll agree. I, for one, can't wait to set out on our journey. Who knows what awaits us? 3 years ago. Huh. Interesting. Necrosis and the ancient Egyptian view of life and death. The Egyptians believed that we humans were composed of two elements, the Ha and the Ka, the body and the soul. Yeah, that's still pretty prominent today. Various texts expound upon their nature in detail, but perhaps it is simplest to conceive them as follows. The soul the soul is that which joins with the child in the womb and gives life to the body. It is also that which departs from the body upon death. Ergo, the body is simply a vessel. Should the soul return to it, it will live again. This is precisely what is observed in a near-death experience, a soul separated, albeit briefly, from its body. The Egyptians believed death not to be an instantaneous change of state, but a process by which the soul moves from one realm to another. This process itself has changed thanks to the death stranding. In the normal order of things, when death occurs, the soul vacates the body and passes into the seam, from where it transitions to the beach, and only then onto the world of the dead. But after the stranding, a soul that has already made its journey to the beach may attempt to return to its body in this world. It's hard to believe at first, but the process of necrosis provided proof that this phenomenon, or proof of this phenomenon that was difficult to deny. This is why it's imperative that we burn bodies of the dead. The body must be destroyed to sever the link with the soul. Only then will the soul be free to journey to the world beyond. Huh. So that I'm just kind of wrapping my head around. So I guess it's like, so if a soul goes back into its body, which really shouldn't happen, that's what causes those big void outs or whatever. I don't know. Chiral symmetry. The word chiral comes from the Greek word kyr, meaning hand. Compare your left hand with your right. They seem similar in both size and shape, yeah? Now face your palms away from you, yeah? And place one hand over the other, yeah. Their shapes do not overlap exactly, but place your palms together and voila, they do match. Yeah. It is as if one hand is the mirror image of the other. Yeah. But again, if you were to actually compare the mirror image of your hand to itself, we would see that the two are not identical. Wait, what? But again, if you were to actually compare the mirror image of your hand to itself, we would see that they're not identical. Yeah. This is the essence of chirality, the state in which the mirror image of a shape does not match the original. What? The essence of chirality, the state in which the mirror image of a shape does not match. A mirror image of the shape does not match the original. Okay. It has been theorized that BTs are mirror images of ourselves. We were to exist in the same point. Were we to exist in the same point in time and space, our shapes, as it were, would not overlap neatly onto one another, save in reflection. And when our particles meet their opposites, a void out occurs. Oh. Huh. The new form of communication we have devised utilizes beaches, which are akin to mirrors reflecting this world and the other, hence the term chiral network. Wow, that one I'm gonna have to read over again sometime. I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around that. So the chiral network is a mirror? Fuck, my brain ain't braining. Chiralium. Uh, You would like to, or you would like to know more about chiralium? Well, wouldn't we all? I am happy to present the latest theories, but you must be aware that this is all that they are, just theories. Chiralium, like dark matter, was born along with our universe and has existed ever since, just not in a dimension we were able to perceive. Until now. It is the beach that gives us access to that dimension, and with it knowledge of chiralium existence. Not just knowledge of it, of course. We have since observed it coalescing into crystalline form and recorded measurable physical and mental effects on individuals exposed to it. It has reshaped our understanding of reality and proven instrumental in the formulation of the multiverse theory of beaches. Multiverse. Ooh. So chiral matter is not affected by the passage of time. As far as these particles are concerned, none has elapsed since the Big Bang. Whoa. Whoa. So wait, so chiralium is immune to entropy? You joking? So chiralium could just exist forever? That's crazy. So already this chiralium breaks one of the laws of I think it's thermodynamics. Was it thermodynamics? I think it's thermodynamics. That's crazy. Little wonder they escaped our notice for so long, until Man and BT first came together in Void Out and left nothing but chiralium in their wake. Many of these claims are yet to be verified, but I believe this is a fair summary of the scientific community's current consensus on the matter. No pun intended. I shall soon be heading west with the first expedition, and I look forward to learning more about chiralium and its connections to the beach along the way. Wow. Man, this is a lot. Chiral contamination is the result of prolonged exposure to chiral radiation, which is emitted by chiralium, a substance discovered at the same time as the beach. Prolonged exposure can significantly impact physical and mental health. The effects are not dissimilar from those observed in individuals exposed to extremely high levels of stress, levels which can be fatal. Ooh. Yeah, levels which can be fatal even. Such traumatic experiences can alter hormonal secretions, impair immune response, contribute to heart failure, and induce strokes. The most common symptom of chiral contamination is poor sleep quality due to vivid nightmares. Mmm. So that explains why fucking what's his name, fucking Sam keeps getting nightmares all the goddamn time. If left unchecked, however, it can quickly progress to a more advanced stage, in which the aforementioned issues may be observed. The potential impact on an individual's mental health cannot be understated. The resulting hormonal imbalances frequently lead to heightened destructive impulses towards themselves and others. That could also explain the mules a little bit. They're probably getting some chiral exposure. Those dominated by such urges are named homo demons, the mad ones. Oh, are we going to talk about dooms yet? Homo daemons, the mad ones. In the case of some porters, such as mules, impaired memory and judgment has led them to develop an irrational obsession with their profession. Hence the Homo Gestalt moniker. The Homo Gestalt moniker. While it should be feasible and preferable for most individuals to avoid chiral contamination at all costs, there are those who, with a demonstrated resistance, who need not be so cautious. I speak, of course, of dooms sufferers. I want to know about dooms. What the fuck is dooms? All right. Chiral contamination can be alleviated using similar methods to those used to alleviate stress, increasing oxytocin secretion through contact with other people, administering smart drugs, and so forth. In recent years, however, the hormone dubbed like in recent years, however, a hormone dubbed lycosin also are known to mitigate the effects of chiral contamination while also restoring basic physical and mental acuity, has attracted a great deal of attention from the scientific community. Unlike oxytocin, lycosin cannot be administered externally. It is secreted within the body, but only in response to external stimuli. It is said to be the hormone principally responsible for the positive feelings that occur when someone achieves a goal, enjoys success, receives praise, or any form of a like from a fellow human being. Oh, so every like you get in this game gives you lycosin, which helps reduce your chiral contamination, which in turn makes you not crazy. You don't lose your mind. So chiralium is a substance that one can live forever. It breaks the fucking entropy law of thermodynamics, and it makes you go crazy if you're overexposed, and basically causes you to have extreme high levels of stress and anxiety. And then just by receiving likes, you can produce lycosin, which kind of just for me sounds like dopamine. But then again, the way they say it, lycosin can't be injected. But I'm pretty sure you can get stuff that makes your body produce dopamine. So I guess lycosin is probably something that actually might be something else that came from with the Death Stranding. I don't know. A discovery of beaches and the concept of death. With the discovery of the beach, the fundamental truth of death was upended. I doubt you will find many who would deny this. Alas, we can say little with confidence in any objective or scientific capacity, for our understanding of this new realm remains in its infancy and is ever evolving, much like our understanding of the universe as a whole. Perhaps the closest thing we have to a working explanation of the beach relates to the conception of the multiverse, but I digress. The beach is arguably both a concept and a reality. A discrete beach is influenced by the mind of the associated individual and therefore linked to them irrevocably. This is why we have so this is why we have so energetically pursued the psychological whoa psychoanalytical and neuroscientific angles when attempting to create a unified theory of the Death Stranding, the beach, and related phenomenon. There was a fad a while back in which subjects underwent counseling in order to learn more about their beaches, and in so doing, gain a greater understanding of the nature of death. Doom sufferers, in particular, provided excellent opportunities for study. Oop, go back. An interesting theoretical question arose during that period. If a person's beach was a product of their consciousness, might animals have beaches as well? A conundrum on the surface, perhaps, but one quickly resolved. Only human corpses undergo necrosis and become BTs, which proves somewhat conclusively that only humans can possess a beach. And yet, this begs another question. If all that is required, if all that is required is consciousness akin to that of a human, could an AI have a beach, a robot, an android? I, for one, do not believe so. Why? Because the function of our beaches is to connect the worlds of the living and the dead. If an entity was never born, has not truly lived, and will never know death, surely it cannot have a beach. Yeah. Giant BTs. Interesting. Evo Devo. Evo Devo unit. It seems a rather significant breakthrough has been reached or has been achieved back at headquarters. They successfully integrated an Evo Devo unit into the chiral print or into a chiral printer. In case you're not familiar with the term, Evo Devo refers to evolutionary developmental technology or biology. Oh, your genes, mouse genes, dinosaur genes. Genes of every living thing, every living being are virtually identical, and yet we develop into such radically different organisms. Thus, a question arises: why did such disparate, disparate, why such disparate life arises from the self same building blocks? Evo Devo was the field of study that sought to solve that mystery and lay bare the secrets of evolution. Before the advent of Evo Devo, it was thought that in order to reconstruct a dinosaur, we would require a sample of its DNA. However, thanks to this technology's ability to extrapolate from existing data, we could, with the current stimulus, grow a dinosaur from the DNA of any living organism. We could, in essence, recreate the process by which dinosaurs evolved from primeval life forms. An Evo Devo unit applies these same principles to the problem of information and object reconstruction. Wait, what? With the help of the chiral network, we may take incomplete data and indeed incomplete objects and reproduce their complete forms. This data can then be fed into the chiral printer, and voila! Partial data yields finished product. The tech isn't viable for everyday use just yet, but when it is, it will be it'll be of incalculable benefit to our research and bring our reconstruction efforts forward by a matter of decades. Yeah, that's true. Because then that way, because how do I put it? That way, you could literally with the Evo Devo, you could grab like say a building collapsed. You could grab a piece. I feel like that if I'm understanding this, you could grab a piece of the rubble, throw it into the Evo Devo, And then the Evo Devo could just print you the exact same skyscraper, or it could just make a new skyscraper out of that. Because it's basically it just the I guess they perfected DNA and molecular structure. Man, Evo Devo unit, that's some crazy shit. Higgs particles. Ooh. Higgs Monahan? Why, yes, I know the name. The former leader of a private courier investigation, as I recall, which serviced a large region in the West and was instrumental in providing continued support to the people living there. But as we were so far apart, Bridges struggled to maintain any measure of influence over over their operations. It probably didn't help that the separatist movement has always enjoyed strong support in that territory. In the wake of growing violence by the demons, the mad people, or the madmen, or whatever, the mad ones, we were shocked to learn that Higgs himself, oh, that's right, Higgs the bad guy. Higgs is named, I just realized, Higgs, Higgs particle, Higgs, oh, wow, so he's basically calling himself the God particle. Interesting. Took me that long to realize that. In the wake of growing violence by the demons, we were shocked to learn that Higgs himself was at their head. What to make of this strange development? Why on earth would a man who once commanded a group devoted to American Reconstructionism suddenly pledge himself to the cause of American destruction? His name only compounds the insult. Have you heard of the Higgs particle, also known as the God particle? It is associated with the Higgs field, that which gives all other particles their mass. Without it, atoms would fly apart, and no matter and matter would not exist as we know it. In other words, its very presence prevents mindless destruction. Cosmic irony indeed. Its presence prevents mindless destruction. And yet is what's Higgs doing. Huh. Interesting. Ah, here we go. Chiral clouds and timefall. Why do why do chiral clouds form? Why does timefall occur? And why does it herald the manifestation of BTs? These are questions we still struggle to answer. As we know, BTs are beings formed of something akin to antimatter. Oh wow. Their first appearance coincided with the Death Stranding, coincided with the Death Stranding. Prior to that point, it is believed that there was very little in the way of antimatter present in our world or in our world at all. But we've since learned that this is far from the case. For even before the Death Stranding, antimatter was all around us. I discovered a scientific paper on the subject titled On Antimatter and Clouds. According to the paper, the gamma radiation generated by lightning strikes can trigger the formation of positrons. And indeed, particles of antimatter can be detected inside regular rain clouds. Oh, really? I gotta look. I wonder if that's actually true. The mechanism by which they are formed is not fully understood, but the mere existence of this phenomenon is enough to suggest something intriguing. Chiral clouds contain chiralium, yes? Well, what would happen if gamma radiation were to act upon them in the same way as it does in regular clouds? Could chiralium could chiralium excited by gamma radiation exacerbate minute distortions in space-time, somehow loosening the seams that connect us to our beaches? And if so, when the excited chiralium mixes with timefall and descends to the ground below, could the entire region beneath the clouds become much more strongly connected to the beach as a result? This could well explain why BTs appear in areas prone to timefall. Furthermore, if the antimatter we previously thought did not even exist in any measurable quantity on Earth, oh my God, did it just click? Chiralium is an essence that allows you to transfer over from one dimension to another. That's why when the Death Stranding happened, Chiralium showed up because basically Chiralium, huh? Yeah, I don't want to lose the thought. So Chiralium has a bunch of crazy shit, but it seems like it's essentially it creates It breaks the seam between one dimension and another, or not even a dimension, but like I guess, multiverse. They're talking about multiverse, so that would mean another universe where there's dead people or spirits or whatever, or an infinite multiverse of beaches where basically that's where people go to die. Like, so it's like you die, your spirit goes to the beach, and then while you're in the beach, you undergo a process that basically transfers you over to the realm of the actual dead. But now that Chiralium's in the real world, it's fucking everything up. Okay, loosening the seams that connect us to our beaches. And if so, when the excited Chiralium mixes with timefall and descends to the ground below, could the entire region become much more strong? Okay, furthermore, if the antimatter we previously thought did not even exist in any measurable quantity on Earth here, wait, in fact present in such commonplace phenomena as the very clouds above us, would this not lend credence to the theory that BTs, beaches, the world of the dead, all of these things may have existed long before the stranding? I mean, yeah, I would think so. Too much of a theoretical leap, perhaps. I do not deny our world changed drastically and irrevocably. Nevertheless, could it not be that Death Stranding was merely a clap of thunder that brought this great change to our attention, and not the change itself? Ah, interesting. Interesting. All right. I think I'll read this and then I'm gonna probably stop and then try to see if I can upload this. I don't know if I'll make it public or not. Maybe. We'll see. All right. Giant BTs. The following assessment is based entirely on eyewitness testimony. Be advised that none of these claims have been independently verified. There are several types of BTs, and the means by which they interact with the living also varies. Some BTs actively seek out human beings, while others attempt to draw us towards them. Still, others are capable of consuming their prey, causing a void out in the process. It is not only their roles and behavior that set them apart, however, their physiology is also quite different. Moreover, we have anecdotal evidence suggesting that the existence of some truly enormous BTs. Curiously, however, these ones do not appear to have umbilical cords. Hmm. Because, yeah, that's the one thing I've noticed. All BTs have umbilical cords. At least all the ones I've seen. Like you know. So giant BTs are comprised of the consolidated ka of multiple diseased individuals. As a result, the connection between each individual and their beach is lost, which is why the resulting BT does not manifest an umbilical cord. That's the theory, at any rate. Unfortunately, I doubt we'll be able to learn more about these entities until the chiral network is online, a day that can't come soon enough. That's kind of fucked, though. Like, this chiralium shit seems really fucking dangerous. Like, everything I feel like I've read so far has basically said, yeah, this chiralium shit is fucking wild. Like, it basically didn't exist, or it did exist, but it was invisible until the Death Stranding happened because it was in another level of existence, like layered over reality. Oh my god. I feel like my mind is getting blown, and this is a fictional video game. This is insane. Giant BTs. So giant BTs are comprised of like a bunch of different souls, and because they're all mixed together, they don't know, they can't go back to their beach. So that umbilical cord means they have a beach that they're connected to. Huh. Egyptian mummies and pyramids, etc. Oh, I don't know if I want to read that. Let's see. Corals. Is there one about dooms? Okay, no, there's none about dooms. So giant BTs, we'll leave it at that. We'll start on Egyptians and mummies next. Anyway, take care. Hope my voice wasn't too annoying. Hope quality wasn't too bad either. Bye-bye.